Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Good evening, everyone. I am Milan. I'm just waiting for a few more people to enter the Zoom, then we will start. Welcome.
And then I think while we wait, I think we should just ask everybody where they.
Sure. Can please let us know in the chats where you are joining from. And in the meantime, maybe people in our team can introduce themselves. I'll start with myself. I'm Milan. I'm the client liaison officer, and I'll be hosting this event. So anyone from the business school, please just introduce yourself so that people know who's on the call.
Hi everyone, my name is Marissa Groenewald. I'm in the registrar's office, so I'm the one processing your applications after submission.
Thanks, Marissa.
I'm just going to follow up after Marissa since we're from the same department. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy days to join us in this information session. I'm Edwina Sonnenberg, and I'm from the registrar's office. I'm a colleague of Marissa. We are on the other side where you never see the people, but you only get emails from us. Enjoy the session.
Thank you, Edwina.
Edwina, I'll take it from here. My name is Mongezi. I'm a program coordinator for MPhil in development. In coaching, leadership coaching, and I'll be coordinating your program right through your academic year at the business school. So me and you will be seeing each other quite often, more than anyone here.
Thank you, Mongezi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dumisang Tsech. I'm an alumni at Stellenbosch Business School. I've also completed my master's in the MPhil program. And so I am an ex-student, and I'll be taking on any questions or giving you information about the other side of the experience once you've gone through the gates of everybody on the call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that leaves me. So I'm Professor Nicky Terblanche. I'm the academic head of the program, and you'll be hearing a lot more from me later on in the presentation.
Thank you, Prof. I think it's 5 past, so I think it's a good time to start. Prof, if you do not mind sharing, please. So before we start with the presentation, everybody, just some house rules. If you do have any questions, please do raise your hand. Feel free to ask any questions regarding the program as Prof goes through the slides. Please, we have enough members of our team to help you with your inquiries. So just ask questions in the chat. And first of all, as I said, my name is Milan Mokhasho. I'm a client liaison officer of the business school. So if you have any questions, you'll be, seeking for me. The business school is very, very proud that you guys chose to spend your evening with us. I know you could have done something else tonight. And thank you for being interested, one, in leadership coaching, and two, to choosing us. So on the next slide, just to tell you guys a little bit about our school, our vision is We are globally recognized as a source of value for better world. And we're trying to do that by developing responsible leaders. You'll see responsible leadership as a thread throughout the presentation as well. Our values are quite important for us. We believe that people are not just numbers. We want to create real, great, responsible leaders. So with that, it's driven by excellence, respect, accountability, equity, value creation, and compassion. And on the next slide, you'll see we have some of the top class lecturers at our business school, a few that you will meet, but today you'll get to meet Prof Nicky Terblanche, who is the head of the MPhil Leadership and Coaching. And on the next slide, we are a top research university, #1 in Africa. We are 1% triple accredited Crown institution. We are first in Africa to hold all 3 major international accreditations, which we are very proud of as the business school. And on the next slide. So our location, we are in Bellville, in the northern parts of Cape Town, South Africa. We have an alumni network of over 35,000 globally. We have 15 partner universities, 6 research centers, 34 core faculty, 23 PhD holders. We have 65 plus journal articles published in 2023. And on the next slide, you will see that the timelines since 1 April, the applications have been open. They will be closing on the 31st of October. And for those people applying via recognized prior learning, just note that it will be closing on the 30th of September. And on the last slide, I will be introducing our program leader for tonight, Prof Nicky Terblanche. Prof Nicky Terblanche is a professor and research supervisor on the MBA, MPhil Coaching, and PhD programs at the business school. His academic interests include both leadership coaching and information systems. He holds and runs an executive and leadership coaching practice. He is an MPhil. He has an MPhil in management coaching and a master's in engineering in electric engineering and a PhD in business management. Over to you, Prof Nicky.
Great, thank you, Milan, for the introduction. And again, warm welcome to everyone who's decided to find out a little bit more about our MPhil Leadership Coaching program. So if you joined us tonight, you want to, either you're already a coach and you want to get a proper qualification, that's what I would describe it, or you're curious about the world of coaching. It's one of the fastest growing professions in the world. And a very powerful skill set to have that can really transform individuals and organizations. So our program, the MPhil in Leadership Coaching, is one of the few master's degrees in Africa. In fact, in the world, there are not many of these programs. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. But our program specifically is an NQF level 9, which means if you complete this, you are at the second highest NQF level. After that, it's a doctorate, PhD. It's a 2-year program, and we are accredited with the European Mentoring and Coaching Council and Coaches and Mentors of South Africa. So it's a program that has been running we started in 2010, so next year will be our 17th year. We have literally hundreds of alumni, and it's a very well-regarded flagship program in the coaching world. So the world is changing fast. I think with AI, emerging, lots of jobs get automated. And the one thing that AI still cannot do very well, and might never be able to do, is to be human, because after all, it is not human. So being human and understanding what it is like to connect with humans and to help people develop to their fullest potential is something that you do as a coach. So in case you don't know what coaching is, because it's often misunderstood, coaching is mentoring. So you're not an expert telling people what to do, but you partner with people on a one-on-one very personal relationship. We use theories and frameworks from psychology, from adult learning, and you help people, you hold up a mirror and you help people to understand really who they are. You help them understand what's blocking them from achieving their full potential. You'll help them understand what their strengths are and how they can do more of that. And it becomes a really intense, beautiful process where you partner with someone and help them unfold and help them to become the best they are. And to me, this program, as I said already before, it's world class, and it's very unique on the African continent, because you are required to develop your own coaching approach. So when you go to different coaching institutions, you might be taught a specific way of coaching, but what we do in this program is we up the notch a little bit, and we expose you to many different theories and frameworks of coaching, and we ask you then to develop your own coaching approach. So we take into account where you come from. I'm an engineer, as you've heard. So I did the same program in 2012, 2011. So I bring all my knowledge of engineering and all my connections and network and my mindset. And then in the program, you get taught how you get exposed to how to coach people. You get to learn about yourself as well in the process. And then you develop a coaching approach for your specific niche. So I get a lot of work in organizations, in the IT departments, because the people in those departments feel that they can trust me because I understand their world because I worked in it. And then on top of that, I've developed these skills in psychology and applied psychology and people development. So when you do this course, you will acquire coaching credentials to start your own coaching practice. Now, coaching is very fast growing, and unfortunately, at this stage, coaching is not regulated by government. So it's self-regulatory. So we have bodies like European Mentoring and Coaching Council, COMENSA, ICF, and anyone can call themselves a coach. So you can literally do a weekend course or an online 1-week course and call yourself a leadership coach. But what sets people apart who do this degree, because there's so many people entering the market, if you then try and pitch for work at a large organization as an external coach, when you've done a master's at MPhil, you will stand out because it's a 2-year program, it's at a university, and we are accredited by European Mentoring Coaching Council and COMENSA. You will also then be able to help with talent development, your own signature coaching approach. What's also nice is with coaching, you can start earning an income immediately. So when you have a client base, or you have wherever you come from, you have a history, right? You have people that you know, and you can start practicing these skills on them and turning slowly into a full-fledged coaching business. So you can start earning money, charging a fee. The average rate in South Africa is around 2,000 Rand an hour for executive coaching. If you're in Gauteng area, for some reason, you can charge up to 4,000 Rand an hour. I don't know why in Cape Town we don't charge more. But there definitely is, and to be fair as well, it's not a money spinner. So don't expect that you will be coaching 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. But it is typically, I find that coaches who have their own coaching practice do it as one of several things that they do. But you could also then, and I'll get to that later, but you don't have to do this course you don't have to become a coach to do this course. A lot of people do this from HR and from management because they want to learn the skills of how to interact with people in a coaching manner. So understanding the psychology and the behavior aspects of people. So if you're a consultant or a manager or an HR professional, this course is also very useful, especially if in HR you are the person that has to manage coaching within the organization. Many of the large organizations spend millions on coaching. 10 years ago, it was a bit of a wild west. Coaches would come in from all over and coach all over the place. But now we find that HR specialists are appointed as custodians of coaching within the organization, and they need to know how coaching works. So that's another avenue. Very importantly as well, AI, artificial intelligence, it's everywhere now, and we are pioneers in the field. I've been doing research on artificial intelligence coaching for the last 7-8 years, and in the course as well, we not only expose you to AI coaching, how it can be used in your practice, we actually use an artificial intelligence platform where you would record your coaching sessions, and the AI platform will analyze your sessions and give you advice and rate you and rank you about what skills you need to develop. So we are one of the only handful of universities in the world that use this AI coaching platform. So AI is I wouldn't say it's the major aspect, but it's certainly part of what we do to prepare you for the new world of what coaching needs. So what does it actually look like, your learning journey? I think I've spoken. Let's talk about the structure. So there are essentially 3 phases to the program. There's year 1, where you have lecturing. You attend classes online. Some are online, some are on campus. And I'll go into that later. You get exposed to many different theories about coaching and approaches, different models and frameworks. You do a certain amount of assignments. You have to coach people. You have to be coached yourself. There are supervision groups where you meet 4 times a year, where you get supported in developing your coaching model. You also get put into quads or triads in the class where you work together, not on assignments, but to support each other. So the first year is about information, getting input and developing your coaching model. Phase 2 is then the beginning of the second year. And in the beginning of the second year in January, we all get together on campus and you get to demonstrate in front of a panel your coaching model. So we have 45 minutes on 2 separate days. The first day you do a presentation where you show us your learning journey. You show us how you developed through the year. You have to keep a reflective journal, for example, and you show us the model that you've created, the coaching process that you've developed. The second day you actually coach someone and you get assessed by a panel. And I'm very proud of this aspect. I go overseas a lot to different universities and coaching institutions on conferences. Most of them, for you to be assessed for your coaching skill set, you record a video, you send it in, and then an assessor would look at how you coach and you get rated. We are one of the few in the world that do it in person. You've got that 45-minute slot, and that's how you have to demonstrate. So AI is of no use to you in that 45 minutes. That's how we ensure quality. So then by the beginning of the second year, your practical side of coaching is done. You get a stamp of approval that you can coach. The rest of the second year is dedicated for research. So you get given, you select a topic from a list of topics, you get assigned a research supervisor, and then for the rest of the year, you go and you do scientific social science research on a topic relating to coaching. And you're very well supported and very well guided throughout of this. There's 12 lectures throughout the year. You have a supervisor, and many of the students use this to specialize in an area that they want to focus on when they leave. When they leave the program. So when they want to become known as a transition coach, for example, or into career coaching or aspects like that. So that's more or less the phases. In a little bit more detail, in year 1, there are 4 modules. The first module is week and a half. That's on campus. So in February, you come onto campus. We all get to know each other. It's wonderful because you learn so many different, you meet so many new people. And just on that, what's amazing about this program is the fact that it's limited to around 40 people. So there's a limited intake. So as the program head, I get to pick and choose the top people, which is great. But also the caliber of students that we get into the program are really quite amazing. We have people from all different professional backgrounds. The average age, I would say, is in the 40s. So these are people that are professionals. They've got some life experience. So you will learn a hell of a lot just from the people sitting around you. People become friends for life. They establish businesses together. Because remember also, in this program, it's not all about, but it's a lot about looking inside yourself. So the exercises through these first 4 modules is where you have to coach each other and you go really deep and people share a lot of deep things. People go through, we all do, life is life. So during a year, you sometimes go through emotional challenges. And a lot of people have told us, especially during COVID, how studying on this program actually gives them a support mechanism because they learn how to cope with difficult situations. So that's what I wanted to say. On this first day, during orientation, on campus, that's why we have to have on campus. We're not only remote, we're not only online, because the bonds you form with the people around you are crucial. Second module is online. and it is 5 Wednesdays in a row. So for 5 weeks, 5 Wednesdays, you have a lecture from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Then module 3, we all get on campus again around July. So everyone reunites and it's great to see each other, hugs and cake and all sorts of other celebrations. And then module 4 is online again. So you see, we have the online, so it allows it for people not to have to travel to Cape Town all the time, but it is still important to have the personal contact. Then year 2, in January, we're all on campus again for 5 days for the professional assessment, as I explained, where you demonstrate your model. And the rest of that year is all online. So it's a really lovely blend between in-person and online. I think I've said most of this. The online are between 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. People always ask me how much time does it take, and maybe Tumi-san can talk to that when she shares her all the joys and challenges she had as a student. It depends on each person, but it's something where you have to put in a bit of time every week, every day, preferably for the 2 years. So I won't lie to you, it's not a walk in the park. This program is, I think, more difficult to do than an MBA because it's not about memorizing stuff. You're not going to write any exams. It's about being exposed to theory, but then through assignments, practically going to apply it, and in the meantime, building your own coaching model while you process your own inner world and making sense of who you are. It's not a walk in the park, but it is transformative. I think that's the other thing I want to say. Apart from learning how to coach, building a network, starting a coaching practice, you will be a completely changed person after this. It is life-changing. I did this many years ago, and I changed from being a know-it-all engineer who's a black and white, where everything is a right answer to a wrong answer, to understanding the complexities of life. And I always make the joke that my wife said it's the best money we ever spent because I'm a much better husband. Although, and this is also part of the joke, she says maybe it's time for a refresher. So I don't know what that means exactly, but so it'll change your life, but you've got to work at it. It's in Cape Town, not in Stellenbosch. So our campus is at the business school, not in Stellenbosch. We're in Cape Town, in the northern suburbs. And I think I mentioned all of this. Oh, one thing about the faculty, we have what makes our program really unique. You have about 20 different lectures in the first year, so 20 different sessions, and you have pretty much, I think, 15 or 16 different lecturers. So you're not going to hear a story from the same. You're not going to have 1 or 2 lecturers that teaches you everything. We literally get world-class experts in to do different lectures. So we have always 2 or 3 international people. Professor Richard Boyatsis from Cleveland. I'll get Eric Dahan from Ashridge in the UK. We get people who wrote the books about coaching. We get people who have been 20, 30 years in coaching to come and lecture you. And this is through my network I've built through the years with my conferences and research. And that makes it really special. Some of these lectures you will not like. You will say, oh, that's not for me. I didn't resonate with that. Others you will love, and you think that's really the coach I want to be. But the point is that we expose you to many different things, and you choose and you pick what you want. It's not a one size fits all. And that is actually what makes it quite tricky, because we don't teach you how to color in by numbers. We give you a palette and we teach you how to paint, and you have to create a painting. You have to create your own coaching model. Just to reiterate, we are accredited specifically with European Mentoring and Coaching Council at the highest level. So when you finish this degree, you immediately can become a senior practitioner with EMCC, which helps. These days, if I pitch for work, they ask for my credentialing, my external credentialing with a coaching body. We are not ICF accredited, International Coaching Federation. We're not with them. We're with EMCC and Comensa. Who should apply? I already mentioned this. I think people who want to become coaches. We often find people later in their career, they're towards retirement, and they want to maybe learn the skills to become a coach so that they can do that in their retirement. But we also have practicing coaches, people who have been coaching for many years, but they don't have the formal qualification. They want to get this master's degree. Leaders and managers, you might have already. We had a CEO of a company a few years ago. He did an MBA. He was the CEO of a medium-sized company to do the course, and he said it was 10 times more helpful than an MBA. It teaches you how to understand these days, especially if you have to work with people across generations. For the first time now, we have, I think, is it 4 or 5? You've got baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alphas on the way. It really, social intelligence and understanding people is the most crucial skill that we can have, and that's what you learn here. I mentioned HR and talent professionals, so they are people that maybe have to run coaching in the organization. Also internal coaches. So some companies appoint coaches to full-time work in the company and coach people as an internal coach versus an external coach such as myself, where I come in from the outside, and all these other things as well. Entrepreneurs, we actually have we have people that have done PhDs in entrepreneurship. So there's also an angle of entrepreneurial coaching, but I think you get the picture. The point is, it's not just for people who want to become coaches. It's also for people who want to learn coaching skills and take that back into their workplace. What would you need to get admitted? You need an honors degree equivalent or a 4-year bachelor's, like a 4 years engineering, so NQF 8 level. We do also have recognition of prior learning. So if you have at least a bachelor's degree, a 3-year degree, and then certain other work experience, and you can look at that online and maybe speak to Henry about that. We want you to have some work experience. So this is not for people straight out of university, because it's about leadership. So this is not life coaching. Let me put it this way. The word coaching is so convoluted, but you might know it as life coaching. This is leadership coaching in an organizational setting. So you need to understand something about how organizations work so that you can, when you coach people, you understand their context. We also ask you to write 2 essays, just to see that you can write, because the 4 assignments that you do in your first year are all written assignments. So you have to be able to communicate verbally, not verbally, in writing. Yeah, so yeah, I think the point is, as a business school, we are our mission is to create responsible leaders, and I think through coaching, you will learn what it is like to be a leader, how to develop other people, and how to go out in the world and shape responsible leaders in South Africa and beyond. And now that I mentioned South Africa, just also to mention we have a growing number of foreign students. Last year, I think we had 7 or 9. Mongezi, I can't remember, but there are quite a few people from other African countries, which was amazing. It was the biggest contingent of other African countries we had, and that makes for a really rich and diverse conversation inside the classroom. And I think this is around over to you, Amina.
Thank you so much for that, Prof. Everyone, please remember, if you have any questions regarding what Prof just mentioned, feel free to drop those questions in the chat box. And we would like you to please, if you have any questions after this, although we're not done, but just for your benefit, if you have any question, Henry, who's also client liaison officer, and myself, our emails are there. If there's any further questions, you're welcome to join. And please, the scan on the right hand is for socials and website, just that everybody knows. So now I'm going to hand over to Dumisang. I just want to introduce her first. So Dumisang is an alumni, so we thought it well that it's also good that you hear from someone who's went through the road. Like the Chinese say, the first person to ask for direction is someone on their way back. So it is good that you hear from her. Just before I hand over, I'd just like to introduce her, just a little part of her CV. With 20 years at the intersection of human capital strategy and commercial leadership, Dumisang brings a rare coaching perspective forged across the telecoms and fintech sectors, working alongside C-suite executives at the highest level. As founder of Gain Human Capital, she delivers bespoke HR strategic services centered on organizational effectiveness and leadership coaching, partnering with senior leaders to unlock their full potential and drive measurable results. Dumisang also serves as Senior Manager HR Business Partnering at MTN South Africa, where she operates within the commercial business to deliver strategic HR partnering to leaders. In this role, she proactively manages HR risks and anticipating and responding to evolving market dynamic and organizational change. Over to you, Dumisang.
Hey, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Milan. It's good to see that we've got 18, well, a bit under 18 people on the call, interested in the program. I just wanted to share a brief overview of my experience as a student on the MPhil program. I registered in 2024, and I was on the program for the 2 years. And I'm so glad that the business school has now included some of the colleagues on the call that you'll engage with as you apply, as you run through the program, because it can be, an overwhelming process trying to figure out the requirements, what you need to submit, doing everything on time, and then making sure that you arrive for the orientation, not a minute past the time that you need to be there. I started the journey at Stellenbosch, first doing a postgraduate program, and I was clear that I wanted to do this program pretty much even before I enrolled for the postgraduate program. It was always a desire of mine to be within the leadership coaching sector or sphere. And Nikki's right, this is not life coaching. Even though there's such a low barrier into the coaching profession, what Stellenbosch Business School really gives you with this program is a rich introduction, but also rich knowledge through world-class lecturers and academic minds on the entire leadership coaching discipline. The first year was, in my experience, quite intense. Nikki mentioned earlier that you really do get exposed to leading academic minds in the field, internationally, and really leading minds from the African continent as well. And so we got introduced to this really great blend of leadership development, academic content from an African perspective, but also world-class, I hate to say the word best practice, but world-class international minds on the field. So what you do is you get introduced to a lot of content, but deep, rich content relevant today. And it's really helpful to help you understand if you're not really afraid with what it means to be a coach. It helps you introduce that in a very rich and meaningful way. When we started the first year, we were put into what we call quads. If there's a group of 4 of you, or triads, where you partner with fellow students, and that is in essence your syndicate group for the year. Those are your partners in crime. They help you figure things out. You coach each other as you go through the program, and they really become a bit of a support structure as you maneuver the ups and downs. More than that, we also have to complete what the business school, what we called coaching logs. So what coaching logs are is a record that you keep as a student in terms of the coaching that you give. The only way I think that at least we started to realize is that the only way to become a good coach is to actually coach. And at first you start off and you're unsure, you really feel like a little bit of an imposter, but the more you do it, the better at it you become. When we started that part of the program, you start to observe yourself online as you coach. And sometimes you cringe because at first you realize just how bad you are if you are a novice coach and you haven't coached before. And if you perhaps have coached before, you realize that maybe you don't sound as good as you thought you did. And through that process of coaching other people within your quads or within your triads, and then coaching people within your network, within your organization, not friends or family, but starting to gather the coaching experience by coaching others, you start to become better at it. Not only do we give coaching as part of the logs that we have to submit, but we also receive coaching, which is an integral part of the program just because of the discovery, the self-discovery that you go on as you're being coached by somebody else. You start to realize self-limiting beliefs about yourself, or how you approach work, in some instances, how you engage with loved ones that probably leave you feeling like you could be better in terms of how you engage. And it's this part of the program that I think is also so enlightening, because the better of a person you are, in general, I think the better you become as a coach in service to others. And so it was a fantastic opportunity to be coached by somebody who is really able to sharpen your tools in terms of your own self-reflection and your own management of self in order for you to become a better coach. I think the one thing that I learned a lot in receiving coaching is that oftentimes coaches have the tendency, especially if you're inexperienced, to go in and want to give the answers to the person that you're coaching, or come in and put on your own mind about how you would resolve the problem. And what that helps is really to catch yourself in doing that and to co-create the solution with the person leading you, the person that you're coaching. So that was a very insightful journey of self-discovery that you go on this program. And then a very interesting part of the program, more than just the depth of academic information that you get and the minds that you engage with, is also the process of working through the assignments. So it is quite a big time investment. Nikki is right. 2 hours a day is conservatively what you would look at from a time investment perspective. But there's a requirement that you spend a lot of time really working through literature and understanding key concepts. And so it does tend to really take up quite a bit of time, especially if you are where I'm at, or where I was at the time. I was juggling a full-time job. I also have personal commitments. I have a whole family that I have to look after with young children. And so it was quite the juggling act. And it does require you to really carve out some time after work, or perhaps over the weekend, to catch up with the amount of reading that's required, but also apply your mind in terms of delivering on the assignments. It's not impossible, but it is a master's program. It can be quite challenging. It is difficult. And I think if you've been with Stellenbosch Business School perhaps before on other programs, the level of academic rigor is really, it's high. And so to make sure that you meet those demands, you have to try and balance quite a fair amount of work on the program with your personal life and your other commitments. Overall, I think the highlight of my program journey was probably towards the very end of the program, when you have to submit what they call a reflective essay. It's a culmination of your entire experience on the program and the journey that you've traveled thus far. You don't see it coming at the end of the year, but when it arrives, you realize exactly what is being asked of you, that you reflect really on how you've developed your skill, but also your knowledge of self in order to become a better coach. What really was quite challenging for me in particular is as I hit the midway mark, which was around assignment 3, I completely had to resubmit my paper. And I don't forget the call that I received from one of my lecturers, who, and I had to sit down, where she said, you really have to redo this paper. And I had completely missed the mark in my attempt to try and overanalyze the requirements and the rubric requirements of the assignment. I had completely missed the mark, but nonetheless, I went back with a little bit of encouragement from her, and I resubmitted. And it was a testament really to accepting that sometimes you need a little bit of help in order to get the work done. And that's where your triad, or I'll loosely say your syndicate group, is so useful to shoulder you and sort of get you going in the right direction. But it's also in itself a teaching or a lesson that you take from the experience, at least that I took from the experience, in that if you don't, I had the tendency of not really asking for help when I needed it. And it didn't bode well in this instance when I really needed the help. In the second year, once you go through the ups and downs, the highs and lows of year one, you then go into the research year. Here you have the opportunity to choose a topic, one that you resonate with, from a list of topics that get given to you. And you are able to choose a supervisor in year two. Now, a supervisor in year two is in essence your research supervisor, very different to the supervisor that you work with in the first year, who's your coaching supervisor. And this person is really helping you in the second year to navigate the research topic. I quite enjoyed the second year personally, because I got to really focus and work a little bit by myself. Not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but I found a fantastic supervisor who became a thinking partner to me and was able to work with me through the research paper. For me, it was probably the most enjoyable part of the program, because of the time that you get to explore a particular topic, while meeting the requirements of the submission, of course, in a very deep and meaningful way. And what the university is testing for is, are you able to really deliver a good research paper up to the standards of the business school? In between year one and year two, we have, I would say, coaching demonstration, which is demonstrating what you have developed in the form of your coaching model in the first year. So in the first year, you get to form your own coaching model, which can be described as your approach to coaching, but it's also about why you coach, who you coach, and the process that you walk through with your client in the coaching journey. It's a little bit daunting because you have to present what sometimes can be quite a personal approach to coaching with somebody else and with other people. But I think once you sit back and you observe and take in other people's approaches to coaching, you start to appreciate that there isn't a one standard fits all in terms of coaching. There's definitely good and bad coaching, and that demonstration is a good way to demonstrate what good coaching looks like. And overall, I think if I was on the other side trying to decide why I should take on a qualification such as this, I think it's really going back to what Prof said in the very beginning. Don't expect that this is going to be a full-time job. Coaching never really is a full-time job unless you are an internal coach working within an organization and your role is that of an internal coach. Coaching is what I would call the je ne sais quoi to a overall offering. It allows you to really think about how you approach either customers, business partners, people that work with you, or people that you manage in a very meaningful way. It is a competitive edge, and so that's why various fields come into this qualification with a variety of skills, a variety of backgrounds. And it's a meaningful program because it really transforms how you see yourself, but therefore how you see the world as well. And I think with that transformational lens, it allows you to also create a lot of meaning and value in the spaces within which you exist professionally and otherwise. So I think for me, it was a fantastic course. It had a lot of ups and downs. It was meaningful. The content was absolutely world class. The lecturers that at least were part of the program, if they are your personal network, Nikki, then I would really want your Rolodex because they are fantastic people. And it was a meaningful process, that of self-discovery as well. I'm happy to take any questions, but I just thought, let me just share a little bit about my story and how I experienced the program over the 2 years.
Thank you so much for that. Everybody, while you're thinking about your questions, you are welcome to ask questions specific to the program or questions to regards to studying and how that worked for Dumisang. I just have 2 questions for you based on what you said. You mentioned how the transition to first year was a bit rocky. What did you have to do, in terms of mindset to, acclimatize yourself to that new transition? Which is the first question. The second question is, the you that joined the business school in the beginning and after the program, what was the difference? What did something that of value that you really took?
Thanks, Nan. I'll take the first question. It's probably the easiest question. I think you have to remember why you started. Is a useful thing that I used while I was on the program. A lot of times you underestimate the work that is required of you, but then you have to always remember why you decided to take on this learning journey. And I had always wanted to take on the Masters in MPhil, the Masters in Leadership Coaching in particular. And it was a real deep desire of mine to do it specifically with Stellenbosch. There aren't a lot of higher learning institutions that have an academic program at this level in this particular field. And so that was the reason for me to have taken it up. And when things got tough, I had to remember why I had started the journey, and not to abandon it midway, but to follow through and actually finish what I had started. And then the second thing, I think the me that started versus the me that left the program, there was a different person. I mean, I walked in a little bit unsure of myself and my capabilities on what I could do. And I walked out the other side being clear that there's there is value in how each one of us sees problems or sees the world. And that process of being coached in particular was quite useful for me because it held a mirror up to yourself. You may think that the world is full of problems and the problems exist outside the world, when oftentimes the problems exist because of how we see the world. And so when I started to realize that for myself, I became quite deliberate about my response to what I was experiencing, both professionally and also personally. So it was useful. That self-awareness, self-calibration is really powerful when used in the right way. It can achieve great success professionally, especially once you learn it. And I wouldn't have learned it through any other mechanism if I had not gone into this MPhil course. So that was probably the biggest thing that I took away, and the difference between the me that started and the me that finished at the end.
And you mentioned that you had to right? Or you struggled with one subject, which I'm assuming was the low point of the program.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what
Yeah,
would you
I
say,
was crushed.
what was the high point? What was the thing that was the aha moment?
It was my grading of my final paper. So I don't know, it was probably a coincidence, but Nicky marked my last paper. And it seemed as if he was aware that I had kind of gone through my ups and downs throughout the year because his feedback was quite validating. And when I realized that he had marked my paper and given me such a fantastic mark, it was kind of validating to know that I had really done it. I had persevered, I had churned out a good piece of work, and the first year was behind me. So
Yeah.
it's doable. It's absolutely doable. That was the absolute high point.
So no, good for you. That reassurance is important. Zinhle is asking to you, Dumisang, if you do not mind sharing, what has obtaining this qualification done for you as an individual and professionally?
Hey, Zinhle. I think professionally I'll start there because I'm in HR business partnering. What I have started to realize as an HR business partner, especially working with senior leaders in my organization at least, and with colleagues at my own level and also managing a team, is that a lot of what organizations outside of the programs that they have, the culture surveys that they run, and the cost optimization transformation programs that they launch out, all part of the group strategies. There's still individuals in these C-suite layers that have to make decisions every day on where the business is going. And because you'll never remove the human being, no matter how sophisticated AI or technologies or automations become, you always have to show up with the understanding of how organizations are managed, how they run, but also what good leadership looks like, and working with leaders in really solving problems by taking a multi-layered lens. And coaching allows you to really engage with senior leaders with the posture of wanting to understand, to solve a problem, and not always assuming that you understand what the problem may be, and also not relying only on the metrics that tell you what success looks like. So professionally, from that perspective, it's been game changing because you get to understand that by asking the right question, it sharpens the quality of your solution. And oftentimes the solution comes from an individual. And if you partner with that individual effectively, you really become a key part of their success or the organization going into the right direction. Personally, I think it's made me a lot calmer, a lot less anxious, and a lot more aware of my own blind spots. As I mentioned before, I think we are very quick to say the problem is the other person. Oftentimes, the problem is what you see the problem to be, and that's oftentimes your lens. And that's been very, 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 very helpful because then I'm able to respond being in control of of myself and managing my external environment in a more productive way, I think. So Zinhle, that's been for me the upsides, both professionally and personally.
Thank you so much. Everyone, please do ask questions if you do have questions. Prof, I have a question for you. There's something Dumisang was mentioning, which I think is a misconception a lot of people have about coaching, where you just assume getting a coach will come in and give us all the answers. So how does the program, help people to not come, to solve the problem, but to, engage and help people with getting the solve?
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time studying the theory of coaching, what it is, what it isn't. And then a lot of time is also spent in practicing. So every lecture, each of the 20 lectures, most of them at least, you will be we will share some theory. Let's say, for example, we share with you cognitive behavioral coaching, CBC, or solution focused coaching, or goal performance coaching. We'll give you a model, and then you go out and with people in the class, you practice. And there's some observed sessions where you record a session on the AI tool that we use, and the AI tool will give you feedback and say, you're asking, you know, you're not asking enough questions. You're not asking enough open questions. So there's essentially 11 competencies that you have to demonstrate in the beginning of the second year, coaching competencies. And these coaching competencies are aligned with international standards. And those are things like asking questions, building rapport, keeping an ethical stance in your coaching, contracting, goal setting. So all the things that make you a coach, those skills are literally you're exposed to that from the beginning. You practice it, and you're observed by multiple different people to make sure that that's what you do.
Yeah, yeah. And people are just thinking, and why coaching and not why MBA, or why not another qualification? Because Prof, you're at the forefront of what's happening in the coaching world and exposed globally. How would doing this program propel someone's career, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's a complex, like I said in the reply as well, it's a complex question. It really depends on the individual. Look, if you do an MBA, you are interested in business. I never did an MBA. You're interested in business, you want to understand how business works. I see it as a mile wide, inch deep exposure. So you get a lot of exposure. So that's you're business oriented. You maybe want to run your own business or progress. If you do the MPhil in leadership coaching, it's about developing other people. You are there to help other people grow. It's the same as someone becoming a psychologist or a counselor we call it the helping profession. We are in the helping professions where we help other people. So really, I think it's quite a big difference, actually. It's quite distinct. Do you want to gain the skills through an MBA to understand business better and go into the business world? Or do you want to learn the skills to help other people? But keep in mind, in the process, learning about yourself and changing completely who you are. Of course, both sets of skills would be useful because if you understand business, but you also understand how people's psychology works, wouldn't I mean that is the essence of it all. But it depends where you are in your life, what you want to achieve, and how interested you really are in helping other people.
Thank you so much for that, Prof. I see there's a question from Lorato asking, in terms of research question for assessment, do candidates select areas of expertise or line of interest? Also, I'm not sure if I missed this part. Are there certifications at the end of the course?
Yeah, I think she's referring, the person is referring there to the 2 essays you have to write as part of the application. It's a standard question that we ask you. It's basically comparing different coaching models, and we just want to see that you can do basic online research and write an argument. So it's not a very difficult thing. And yes, there are certifications. So we are registered with European Mentoring and Coaching Council, EMCC, and Comensa, Coaches and Mentors of South Africa. So, of course, you get a master's degree from Stellenbosch University, which is already triple accredited. But in terms of coaching, you get registered as a senior practitioner with European Mentoring and Coaching Council without having to do anything more. The program itself is aligned with that. And that's quite a high level of certification that you get straight out of the program.
Thank you, Prof. Perfect. Is there anyone with any other question? I know Robin asked earlier, Prof, in regards to the online and on campus.
Yeah, I think I hopefully explained that to him that for the on campus, there are 3 modules on campus, 2 in the first year, 1 in the second year. You have to be on campus. There's no alternative. So the business school, we do not do hybrid. I don't know what the right word is, where some people are online and some people are in the class. That's the most horrible way of learning. No one should be doing that. So you're either on campus or you're online. And for the on campus, in person, you have to be there. There's no alternative. But I think Robert's asking there's something about fees as well. I'm not sure who, Milan, who talks to that.
Yeah, is there someone in our team who can address that?
I can address that if you'd like.
Thank you, Marissa.
Not that I'm in student finance, but I can share some insight here. The course fees are published on the business school website. So it is basically divided into 2 years. So you pay every year for your classes. And so your first year's modules are invoiced after registration. You then have until the end of September to settle those fees towards the end, because all the student fees must be settled at the end of the year before you can register again for the following year. There is a registration fee applicable every year. So as soon as you receive admission and the thumbs up that your application has been successful, I will communicate with you what the registration requirements are and also what the fee is you need to pay and by when. Because that fee is payable before we can continue with registration. And registration usually opens at the beginning of December, which we would like to finalize before the Christmas holiday break, so that you guys are ready and, for the registration beginning of the year or when the classes start. And then again, towards the end of the second year, communication will go out for re-registration for your second year and as well fees applicable to that. There is an application fee. So once you've completed your application and submitted it, there's an 850 Rand application fee which you need to pay in order for us to continue with the review and the processing of your application. There is a electronic payments link that becomes available on the last page of your application portal once you've submitted the application. So you can use the link and pay the 850 online as if you're doing an online purchase. For our international colleague students, sometimes that payment link does not allow you to process the payment, but you will then find the bank details in the guideline documents on that last page, which you can then use to pay it. And then you please just forward your proof of payment through to our office. Our email address is on the application portal as well for your convenience.
Thank you so much, Marissa. Anyone, if there's no further questions, I will give then over to Prof if there's something that you'd like to close off with, and then I'll give over to Tumisang from a word of encouragement as an alumni.
Great, yeah, thanks. Now, really, I cannot emphasize this more because I've gone through this program. It is a life-changing. If nothing else, you will spend the money, you will go through the program. Even if you don't become a coach, you will be a changed person because it forces you to look inside yourself. So in that sense, it's an investment in yourself more than anything. Also, it is, in terms of international benchmarking, it's one of the top international programs in the world for leadership coaching. So you won't regret doing this. But also come prepared that you're going to have to work hard. You have to be open also to how you want to change for yourself. And if you come with that attitude, I think it's a no-brainer. And I really hope to see all of you on campus very soon next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. Tumisang?
Oh, thanks, Milan. I think from my final parting words is professionally, it is a massive investment, especially if you work with people. And I think all of us in some shape or form do work with people. And the competitive advantage that it gives you professionally to really become successful, not through a traditional MBA, but really through influence and partnering with leaders and making decisions, shaping how we think about things that happen within the organizations that we work in or the societies that we live in. I think if that is really the kind of work that you're trying to do, then this is, for me, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, probably more impactful than an MBA. And so that would be what I would leave the colleagues on the call with.
Thank you
And
so much.
We don't pay her extra to say that, by the way.
I wasn't sure I was supposed to say that, but I was tempted to answer that MBA question a bit more directly than you, Prof. But yes.
And on that note, tomorrow is the MBA virtual open
I agree
day
with
for those
you.
who are interested. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and we really appreciate it. Dumisang, thank you for being such a great ambassador. Prof, thank you so much, and for the team that has been supporting. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Milan.
See you then.
Cheers,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.